Well, we'll slowly start to see that snow taper off as we get over the next 4 to 6 hours, depending where you're at in the viewing area. But not everywhere in the viewing area has received snow today, and those are in places that we expected that to happen. Now, here's a look at our weather alerts, our current winter storm warnings, those counties shaded in pink, really much across almost the entire state of Nebraska and northern Kansas, with the exception of those few counties from Lincoln back through Gage and Knuckles counties that include that winter weather advisory. But as we go through the next couple hours, we'll continue to see that snow expanding as that area of low pressure slides to our east and northeast. We've had some encounters with dry air. That's what's happening down in northeast Kansas as well as the southeastern part of the state. But we're starting to see an increase now in moisture and cold air interacting. So we're seeing that heavy snow band expand from Grand Island to Kearney and Franklin. Speaking of Kearney, Hastings, and Grand Island, we've seen meteorologist Kit Cloninger, who's been live in Storm Chaser 4 throughout the area today. He's seen it all. And Kit, right now he's in Grand Island. How are the roads there, and what have you seen so far in that area?
Yeah, Tim, a lot of the side roads and especially parking lots are rather deep in some snow, especially anywhere near a curb. I measured near a curb over 5 inches of snow earlier, but Highway 281, which is what we're looking at right in front of us, we're looking from Fadley Avenue onto Highway 281. It has been maintained through most of the day today. State Patrol or State DOT have been plowing most of 281 and the interstates, most of the major highways, but they are starting to deteriorate as we have more snow come in. That's going to continue to pile up onto the snow that we already have. We'll have more checks from around Grand Island coming up a little later on in the newscast, but for now, I'm meteorologist Kit Cloninger live in Storm Chaser 4 in Grand Island. We'll send it back into the studio to Alicia now.
We see some of this as well, and we've had some dry air encountering us here in Hastings and up in Grand Island around to Kearney. We've had I-80 road problems, and up in Grand Island, that's where we find once again meteorologist Kit Cloninger. Kit, how are the roads there? You gave us a report on 281. Have you moved, and what's the travel conditions like?
Yeah, Tim, now I'm actually at Eddy Street and 1st Street here in downtown Grand Island, too. We saw that most of 281 is being maintained, and some of the streets here in downtown Grand Island are being maintained by Public Works Department, but a lot of the roads still have a lot of snow on the sides, especially in the parking spaces, and right here in front of us, we still see a lot of snow on the roadways. So, of course, in town, you've got slower speeds, so you're going to have a little better traction keeping it slow, and it's not going to be all that difficult. But of course, stay on the roads if you are on the roads, stay cautious of those conditions, especially around those curves. I've seen a couple of people as they start or as they turn, they start to skid out a little bit. So basic winter driving conditions, but we haven't had them for a few months. So keep that in mind and stay safe when you do head out on the roads. I'll be back a little bit later on in the newscast with one more report, and tonight at 6 as well. But for now, I'll go ahead and send it back into Tim. And Tim, you've got to look at the rest of the state's road conditions, right?
Yeah, that's right. And of course, we're seeing travel troubles all across the state with the exception of the east and southeast. Areas in pink, 100% snow and ice covered, and even areas in purple off to the west, impassable. But we're seeing a lot of this here in the central and north central part of the state. The green, seasonal, normal winter driving conditions. We haven't had any snow, maybe a little bit of rain, and off to the east where we've had a little less snow, we've got at least 50% snow and ice covered. Futurecast, here's a live shot once again from meteorologist Kit Cloninger. Storm Chaser 4, this is northbound, I believe, on Locust Avenue in Hastings, so you can see some of those city plows out, traffic moving very slowly. But as we look at the radar right now, you can see that we've got some very heavy snow in a band set up from about Sherman County back through Buffalo County down to Kearney County as well as Franklin County. As on that radar, we're going to see a snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour setting up over the next couple of hours. And there's a look at radar. We also have an official report at the National Weather Service office in Hastings, right by Local 4 here on the north side of Hastings. 4.6 inches so far, so we know that we have more snow that'll come in Grand Island and points to the north and west. So we're not done. Here's what we're looking at for snowfall totals. When it's all said and done around the Tri-Cities, I think we'll see widespread 6 to 9 inches. To the south, though, as you get down to southern Adams County and Webster County and some of those counties off to the southeast, we'll see less. But if you go to the west and northwest, we're going to see locally heavier amounts, 9 inches or more being reported in those areas in pink. This is a very dynamic storm system. We've had some spotty reports of thunder and lightning, and we're not done yet. Tomorrow will be quiet, but Thursday a chance for some snow, 1 to 2 inches probably, then changing to maybe some freezing rain and sleet. 1 to 2 hour per inch rates moving through the area. And as we go up to Grand Island, that's where we find meteorologist Kit Cloninger, who is along South Locust Street. Kit, it's got to be snowing pretty heavily right now. What are the roads like?
Yeah, Tim, I must be just east of that heavy snow band because I haven't seen it pick up just yet, but you're right, off towards our west we have a lot more snow on the way. I'm heading north right now on Locust Street here in here in Grand Island. And we see that the roads are still covered now. Public Works have been making efforts to continue to maintain the roads, but of course the snow keeps coming down. Can't get it clear just yet. It'll still take until after the storm has moved on before we can see the road conditions come back into. We'll have more updates coming up a little. Grand back into the studio.
It looks like winter out there as well. You're looking at a live look from meteorologist Kit Cloninger, who's live in Storm Chaser 4. Nobody else around has a Storm Chaser 4. We'll show you the roads coming up. Stay with us. Let's take a look at the bigger picture on radar. Here you can see where that heavier snow is set up here around Howard County, Sherman County, down to the south, Highway 281, even down towards Adams County, and that's moving off to the east and northeast. But as we move into Grand Island, that's once again where we find meteorologist Kit Cloninger. He's live in Storm Chaser 4. Anybody can tell you about the weather, but here at Local 4, we can actually show it to you. Kit, what's going on out there?
Yeah, Tim, right now I'm on Webb Road, and it's very bumpy, so pardon the noise a little bit. But through the day today, I've been driving on Highway 281, Interstate 80, in town, outside of town, and basically everywhere I've not been able to drive the speed limit at all. Some parts of Interstate 80, which have been plowed and been maintained well, you could get up to around 40-50 miles per hour, but here in town I'm having to keep it under 20 miles an hour on almost all of these side streets because there's still a lot of snow on the road. So if you are going to be venturing out this evening, of course drive safely, but you might have to account for almost double the time that it takes you to get to most destinations just because of those road conditions. We'll continue to keep an eye on them here around Grand Island and around the Tri-Cities, but for now, I'm meteorologist Kit Cloninger in Storm Chaser 4. Tim, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Kit. Boy, those are great shots. Love to see those. And notice how Kit approached the 13th Street on Webb Road, and you can see some of that ice shining as he pulled up to that car that was right in front of him. So keep that in mind. Hey, it's better to see the road conditions and not just to be told about them, and that's what we do here on the Local 4 weather team. So looking back at the radar, Hastings.
And as the snow winds down in the Tri-Cities, this winter storm is not over. Tim Jones will explain why. That is your top story tonight on Local 4 News at 10. Good evening, I'm Sarah Bukella. Spencer Schubert is off tonight. We got hit pretty hard today with the winter storm, and I think it's safe to say that it's officially winter, or at least it looks like it. Tim Jones is in the Weather Center. Tim, will there be more storms?
You know, this winter storm really packed a punch, and even though the snow is winding down, well, now the winds are starting to ramp up, just as expected. And because of that blowing and drifting snow, Interstate 80 has been closed by the State Patrol from York in both directions between York and Kearney. You see those roads shaded in purple. Travel not advised. That includes sections of 281, Highway 2, Highways 11, all the way up through Ord and Burwell, Highway 96. But south of Interstate 80, things are a little better, but don't let that fool you. Most of the roads are 100% snow and ice covered. As we look at the winds, here's what I'm talking about. This has happened over the last couple hours. Those wind gusts in excess of 30 to 40 miles per hour right up and down from Grand Island to Hastings and points on either side of that. So we've got a lot of blowing and drifting snow, and that's really causing the roads to be slippery. They already were. On top of that, we've had a lot of reports in excess of 6, 7, even 8 inches of snow. Some records today for single-day snowfall totals in Grand Island and also in Hastings. So let's take a live look outside. We have two live looks, one coming from Lincoln and the other one coming from Storm Chaser 4 here in Grand Island. Storm Chaser 4 is along Highway 281. Weather shield out of Lincoln looks like it's along Cornhusker Highway or Husker Highway, and you can tell not near as much snow or impact over in Lincoln as what we had here around the Tri-Cities. It's looking a little different out there as opposed to this time last night. A lot of snow, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches just started being reported as we come in. And here's a look at some of that snow here at Local 4 over the last couple hours. The wind's really kicking up now, and you can see that there's at least 4, 5, 6 inches of unplowed snow in our parking lot. So get ready for those winds to continue overnight. As we look outside here, well, yeah, you can see that even though it's dark, there's still snow on the roadways, top right part, downtown Grand Island, and now those temperatures are falling into the 20s, and that's causing freezing in some of those slushy areas. But as the winds kick up, at least the snow is diminishing, now really done in most places. You can see this line of what's left here, the snow from West Point down through Columbus, down to about Geneva and Hebron. So we'll take a closer look around Fillmore County as well as down around Jefferson and Gage County. It's just in the eastern part of Nuckolls County, some of that residual snow even around Edgar as well. So moving out of Clay County, moving off to the east as that area of low pressure slides up to our northeast. And as we look back around the Tri-Cities here, now things, just a few flurries out there, but those winds blowing very, very strong from northwest to southeast here, and that's going to cause problems, at least blowing problems, not only along Interstate 80, which is closed between York and Kearney, but also on Highway 281. And that's where we find Highway 281 and Grand Island meteorologist Kit Cloninger. And just to clarify, he was in the vehicle. We just had some technical problems, but I believe we have him now. Kit, what can you report around Grand Island?
Yeah, Tim, right now I'm heading back into Grand Island. I'm following one of these plows, but I want to highlight one. You see all of the snow that is still blowing across the road even after the plow comes through. We're going to have those winds tonight, and it's going to blow back over plowed roads. And also note, I'm following the plow, and it still has some of that ice that we formed earlier today from the slushy mess that started this whole process. So there's still going to be very icy roads. Temperatures have dipped well below freezing now, so we're going to continue to see those temperatures fall, and things are going to continue to freeze. I think he's letting me pass now, but a lot of these roads are very icy, so if you do have to head out, of course, add some time to travel, but we're going to see these temperatures drop down, and we're not going to get back above freezing for the next day, so we're likely going to be seeing these icy road conditions continue over the next little bit, Tim, especially with the winds blowing more snow back over the road. Tim?
Hey, Kit, thank you so much. And I just want to point out, travel is not being recommended in many places here. We talked about this at the top of the newscast, but in places around Garfield County, Ord and Valley County, all the way down to Hall, Sherman, and Howard counties as well. So even Interstate 80 here from Kearney, both directions back to York. That's that purple area, but that is reported by the Nebraska State Patrol. So again, most of these roadways here in the pink are all 100% snow and ice covered. As you go to the southeast, conditions improve a little bit. Of course, we didn't really get much snow in that direction, but here's one of the sections around Kearney, around Minden, that's Interstate 80, one of the plows that's on that section that closed. Hard to really see much here, but the winds are definitely going to make things difficult. As Kit said, temperatures well below freezing right now, and you can see how those colder air, that colder air mass is settling into the area. Wind gusts, there's a look at the wind gusts, 30s and 40s, so without a doubt, that snow now is frozen and it's blowing around. You may not have won the lottery tonight, but you sure did if you like winter weather. And here's meteorologist Kit Cloninger once again in Storm Chaser 4. Looks like he's on First Street there, moving, well, it looks like he's moving to the east. And you can see how the snow is packed down. It looks a little icy. See that glaze there where the blade's been over it? So nevertheless, it's going to be slow going, and the winds aren't going to help much. A little better in town, but especially in the rural areas, some of those rural highways, we're going to have drifting and blowing snow abound. So it's going to be slow going tomorrow. It's just going to take some time to get those roads cleared off. And if this isn't enough, at least tomorrow was quiet, but look at the next couple days on the 4-day forecast, because